Today's muscle is the sternocleidomastoid. It's a two-part muscle which goes like this, and that has a really specific pain pattern that people will recognize easily. Another symptom of that muscle is dizziness. Okay? Well, basically, I mean, at level 1, this muscle is involved in head rotation, bringing the head down, but from a bilateral perspective, meaning when the two muscles work at the same time, and you can feel that by putting your hands in front of your neck. These muscles will pull your head forward. You see, forward head posture. And in practice, I often see people with this type of complaint that have their head forward. There are many reasons, which I discuss in another video, why the head is forward, but basically bear in mind that you have direct sources, like your visual acuity is not great, so you go with your head forward, or you use your mobile phone too much, typically. And there are indirect causes to forward head posture, which are more about correcting unbalances which are below, such as when your mid-back is round, i.e. because your pelvis is forward, or because when you sit, you slouch. So I would say if you recognize this pain pattern, your first reaction before anything should be to try and eliminate the sources of forward head posture, which will be always the source of many problems. Forward head posture will only be resolved following a global approach, and of course you can always message me, contact me or so if you need assistance in that. But for now, I want to show you two stretches for the sternocleidomastoid. One is, say, the academic stretch, the one that you will find everywhere. The other one is one that I have, say, built by myself, which I find quite effective, but it requires great precision. So it's, say, an advanced stretch. What we'll do is we'll lie on the back, and from here, you see, I keep my face towards the ceiling. I bring my ear to my shoulder, and then I look back. I'm looking 45 degrees backwards, and here I feel the stretch. Per se, this is enough. Now, if you want to reinforce the stretch, and again we're going a bit away from the academic version, you can bring your left hip, so same side as what you stretch, away from your shoulder, and possibly a bit to the right side. You see, from a purely geometrical perspective, we could do this stretch setting, I mean, somewhere like this. But I don't want you to do that, because when you do this, I mean, there's a lot of imprecision in your posture, and in mine also. It's not you versus me, but it's very difficult to do it properly, and there's the weight of your head on the cervicals. So I'm really not a big fan of you stretching the sternocleidomastoid when you sit or you stand. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you my version of this stretch, which is very progressive. What I've observed is the following. If I lie on my side, I will keep my face, say, in direction of the camera, bring my ear to the shoulder, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a tiny bit of neck extension and bend further. Neck extension, bend further. Neck extension, bend further. And little by little, I feel that there's a lot of stretch in this area, and I can even turn my head slightly to the ceiling to target the sternocleidomastoid even more. But you see, it's a progressive stretch like this, where I go ear to the shoulder, extension, and a bit of rotation. And little by little, doing this, I do this gravity-assisted stretch, but one, it's got to be driven by your proprioception, so what you feel or touch, and here I can feel that the muscle is really stretched, that's one. Two, it's got to be extremely slow, because we're getting in say, tricky postures. You see, when you have combinations of movements like this, it's very easy to not be precise. And to return from the stretch, I will just flex my head, reopen, and there we can go.